All right, welcome to math. We are going to today talk about what is subtraction because we're going to get into the heart of subtracting and just making sure we understand what we have to be sure is true before we keep subtracting. All right? First thing is going to be this. Well, first of all, I apologize. My overhead camera that I was going to use so that I could have it up like this and have a book underneath it isn't working. So I'll have to figure that out before next week. But anyway, this will work anyway. So I've got three things that we need to figure out. One of them is what is subtraction, and that one you kind of already know. But we are going to look at it a little bit more in detail just to make sure that we know. And then the next one, I'm sorry, I'm distracted because my cat is on our porch. And it sees a moth flying around, and he desperately wants to get that moth, and he can't. So he's making noises. So we're going to see what is subtraction, and then we're going to see a couple ways that you can check subtraction. One of them is by estimating, and another one we're going to talk about, and we're going to learn about inverse operations. That's going to be a big word that we're going to keep using the rest of the school year. Inverse operations. It's one of those toolbox items that you're going to want to keep because in math, inverse operations are going to help you a lot, and I'll teach you what those are. You actually kind of already know. Okay, so to begin with, subtraction means that we're going to take a smaller number from a bigger number. Now, when you get a little bit older, you'll actually be able to take a bigger number from a smaller number, but I want you to think of it this way for now. If somebody has some money in a bag, another person could take a small amount of money out of that bag, right? Because it wouldn't be the whole thing. But I hope it makes sense that you couldn't go the other way. You can't take a small money bag and take from it a gigantic amount of money. It doesn't work that way. So one of the things you always have to do when you set up a subtraction problem is you want to make sure that the bigger of the two numbers is on top. So if I have the number 387 and I have the number 251. 387 is bigger. So I could take 251 away from 386, and that would be okay. So that would work. I can't take 386 from 251, okay? Now, here's why this is important. Because in some problems, it's very simple. Well, you know what? Let's go back to what subtraction really is anyway, all right? So I'm going to take that problem, 386, and I'm going to take from it 174. Okay, I'm going to work with that problem, okay? Now, when we're doing subtraction, now I'm actually kind of using page number 153 a little bit with this because it's talking about using hands-on and using to base 10 blocks. I'm going to kind of draw some base 10 blocks so you can see what's happening when we subtract, okay? So, if I take 386, first of all, I would have to have in my base 10 blocks 100, 200, 300s. Then I would need 8 tens, and the tens look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I would need 6 singles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, since we're subtracting, basically all I have to do is this. I'm going to say, well, I have 6 ones right there. I'm taking 4 ones away. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 2 left. I have 8 tens. I'm taking 7 of them away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 1 left. And I've got 3 hundreds, and I'm going to take 1 of them away. 2 are left. So, if I do that, I end up with 2 ones, 1 10, and 2 hundreds, 212. But it's just as easy to see, I think, that when you take 6 minus 4, you get 2 left, and 8 minus 7, you have 1 left, and 3 minus 1, you have 2 left. So that's what's really happening with base 10 blocks when we subtract. Okay? Now, sometimes it works out, though, that you do not have the right number on the bottom. So, for example, I'm going to take 343, and I'm going to subtract 235. Now, in this case, when I'm trying to do this problem, 343 is bigger than 235, so it's okay. I set it up correctly, but look over here. 3 minus 5. Now, a common mistake that third graders will make is they'll look at 3 minus 5 and they'll write 2. But did they really do 3 minus 5? Or did they just do 5 minus 3? They did, didn't they? So they looked at it the wrong way. And we can't do that in subtraction. It's a really common mistake. So we'll kind of have to make sure we watch out for that and don't make that mistake. So 3 minus 5. Well, if I have $3 in my pocket, somebody can't come along and take 5. So now I have to do something about that. In this case, I'm going to regroup. I'm going to go over next door and I'm going to say, hey, I need a group of 10. It's just like what we did with addition. So that group, except it's the other direction. So that group is going to give away one group of 10, which will leave it with 3 tens. This one now has 3 singles plus 1 10. That makes 13, doesn't it? 13 minus 5, now I can do it. That's 8. 3 minus 3 is 0, and 3 minus 2 is 1. Now, if we do this with base 10 blocks, it kind of does make some sense, because watch what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to start with my 300s, 4 10s, okay, now remember, those are 10s because they're made up of 10 of the individual small blocks, which I have 3 of in this case. All right, so there's my number, 343. Now, I'm going to have to take away from this 235. Well, look at that. I can't take 5 away from here. There's only 3 of them there. So now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to break him up into his 10 individual pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Just like over here. That's where that 13 came from. Okay? Because I was able to take those from the tens place and just turn them into ones. So now I've got 13 ones, and I know that's usually illegal, but we can do it for just a second. Okay? So 13 minus 3 now, or I'm sorry, 13 minus 5 would leave us with 8. Let's see if that's true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. By golly, it is. It's 8. Okay? Now we can do the other ones just fine. 4 minus 3. I'm sorry, 3 minus 3. I'm going to take all 3 away. And then 3 minus 2. There's my 300s, and I'll take 2 of them away. All right, so when we think about it, then that leaves me with 108. So that's really what's happening when we talk about subtraction. Now, it's important that we understand that, because tomorrow and the next day, Monday and Tuesday, we're going to spend some time doing bigger subtraction problems like this, and it's really important we're able to do them quickly and easily and accurately. Now, as far as checking math problems go like this, there's 2 things we can do. One of them is what you learned on Wednesday, which is estimating. Okay? I could say, well, I want to find out if 108 is a reasonable answer. So I'm going to say, well, 343, that's about 300. 235, that's about 200. 300 minus 200, it's about 100. If my answer is about 100, I'm probably right. And it is about 100. Now, I could have also done it like to the nearest 10 if I wanted to. I don't like doing that, though. If you're going to estimate, I like making that number the biggest one it can be. So anyway, but I could have done 343 minus, 340 minus 240. And then guess what? We still get 100. So either way, you get 100 on that one, which 100 is close to 108. So one way that I can check for accuracy is by doing a quick estimate. Does my estimate come close to what my answer is? If it does, my answer is probably right. If it's way off, then maybe I did something wrong. Now, an even better way to do it is this, and this is the inverse operation. Inverse just means the operation that's going to undo the other operation. And we've talked about this before, because we've said that if I have 8 minus 5, and I think it equals 3, all I have to do to check that is to add this number and this number, and it should equal this one. Now, I talked about this one time. I said you don't have to worry about really learning it yet, but this number is called your minuend. This is the subtrahend, and this is your difference. If you turn your subtrahend and your difference into 2 addends, then this should be your sum. And 3 plus 5 is 8. Well, because of that, we can do this. I can say, well, I got the answer of 108. Let's make that one of my addends. My subtrahend was 235. Whoa. Now I'm going to add them together. My answer should be 343 if I did the problem right. Let's see if it's right. 8 plus 5 is 13. Regroup. 3 plus 1 is 4. Don't regroup. 2 plus 1 is 3. 343, 343. Hey, it worked. It's correct. So that means that when I did that process of using the inverse operation, I double-checked that I got the exact right answer. All right? So those are some things that are just kind of like, this is what subtraction is. I'm not going to make you actually do anything with it today. Okay? The only thing I do want you to do is take out the timed test that has 2 times everything else, and that'll be the last 2 that we're going to do, because next week we'll start on 3s. Okay? So take that out, and I'll let you just kind of time yourself and then fill in the ones you didn't get done on your own. All right? So I'm not going to bother trying to set a timer here. I'll let you do it on your own. If the timer wigs you out, just do them on your own. Okay? Hang on to that, though, and turn it in. So the only thing for today is think about subtraction, and hopefully this stuff made sense. and then get that multiplication time test done. All right.